In this lesson, we're going to be discussing auto recovery and undo. Now, on the surface, recovery and undo may seem to be totally unrelated, but they are actually related entirely, and let me show you how. If you want to follow along, you can, in your welcome screen, go to Open and just click, or go to File, Open. And we're going to navigate to the sample files that come with the training and open a file which is called 0203 Recovery and Undo. Just click on it and press Open. Now, before I get into the actual lesson, all of the photography in this entire training are images from Chris Carter. And this wonderful photographer allowed us to use his images in the training. Thank you, Chris. Now let's continue. I opened this file, 0203 Recovery and Undo, and I'm just going to get InDesign out of the way. I'm just going to hit the Minimize button and go into my sample files, and you'll see that there is actually a file here that has a similar name to the file that we're working on. It has a bunch of numbers and a slash and recovery and and then a .idlk. That is an InDesign lock file. What this file is about is it is actually keeping track of everything that you do in your InDesign layout as you're doing it. And it's kind of like a spy. So if you make a change to the layout, it knows about it, and it puts it into this data file. And this allows you to actually make changes and then undo those changes all the way back to when you first opened the file. Let me just show you. I'm going to get my InDesign file open again, and I'm just going to make some simple changes. I'm going to go to my selection tool, the black arrow, and I'm going to click on the image. And now I have these little bounding box points. And if I hover over the top of them, I'm going to get these little double arrows. And this allows me to click and drag and crop the image. And I'm going to crop it in from both sides. And let me make some other changes as well. Maybe I'll change the position along the x-axis by clicking the up arrow next to the X field. And maybe I'll move it down the screen a little bit by using a positive number in the y-axis. I'm just going to move it down a little bit more. What else? I'm going to change the width. I'll make it a little wider. I'll make it a little taller. Okay? And let's make some really dramatic changes. I'm going to click on Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. And I'll do it a couple of times so it's upside down. I want to make some changes that we're really going to be able to see when we undo. I'm also going to click Flip Horizontal. And that's probably enough changes. Now, to undo it, all I have to do on a Mac is press Command-Z, and on a PC, Control-Z, and I'm just going to keep doing it until it goes all the way back to when we first opened the file. And it looks like that's about it. Okay, now it's going to allow me to hit Command or Control Z all the way back to when I first opened the file, even if I've saved a number of times along the way. So it actually will go back beyond saves, go back in time, and I can go all the way back to when I first opened the file. Now, this is a little bit different than File Revert. Revert, what it will do is close the file and open it up as it was in the last save. So once you do that, your data file, your little lock file, is starting all over again. So you can't get back beyond a revert. Well, that's just one of the things that this little data file is responsible for. Another thing that it does is recover files. If, let's say, your power goes out, or you have a computer problem. I recently had a computer problem where my external drive disconnected from my computer. and I saw an error message on my screen that I have to admit I've never seen on a Mac before. It said, "Fatal error, InDesign had to quit." Why did it have to quit? Because when my external drive disconnected from my computer, InDesign could not find the data file, so it had to quit. So what did I do? I plugged my hard drive back into my computer, restarted InDesign, and I got a message on my screen. Do you want to restore the file? Now, to me, that's kind of a silly question. Of course I want to restore my file. So all I did was click yes, and even though I hadn't saved this file in 20 minutes, not following my own advice, the very last thing that I did in the file before it had to quit was there. As a matter of fact, InDesign opened the file on the very page that I was working on. Really kind of cool. We'll be talking about undo more as we get into training.